Hello and welcome back to City Skylines. My name is Sparky and we are back in the city of Baltimoray here on the west coast of Scotland. As you can see on my little train journey here on the right hand side, our traffic is beyond a joke. It's backed up from one side of the city all the way to the other. So we need some major fixes today. So for today's episode, I'm not going to be Sparky. I'm going to summon my inner Biffa. I've replaced my iron brew with a cup of tea, and for this episode only, we'll call this episode the Baltimoray episode, if you will. Baltimoray. Very original. Yeah, we're going to summon our inner Biffa here and try and tackle our traffic issues. But before we do that, I just want to quickly do a wee bit of tidying up of our last build here. I just want to do a wee bit of just want to do a wee bit of landscaping around our library here. And we're just going to sprinkle a couple of trees in and gaps here. I like to do this whenever I've got gaps in between buildings, especially in lower residential areas. Just bunk some trees in, and that's about it. So we left this sort of weird chunk segment thing here, and I just want to bring another road through it. I don't think it's going to make. I don't like making junctions on the main road at short intervals, but it's sort of a quietish area. I don't think it's going to make that much difference, and I just want to add a wee bit more residential. But I also want to fit in an elementary school, because I think our coverage is a wee bit lacking, and it'll be good to stick another one in. So I'm going to use the European asset. I've bonked it there for now, but I think I might actually move it to, I'm going to move it to the smaller segment. Yeah, I'm de-zoning a couple of buildings here because we're going to make some changes later on, and we're not going to need them. I've decided I'm going to move this elementary school to the smaller segment. I think it'll be better in here, in this corner here. As I say, I like to give a wee bit of extra space to my elementary school, so we're just going to bonk it in there. Let's get another crematorium in. We're kind of, I don't know if we're just struggling because of our roads or if we've got a death wave, but we seem to be struggling on the death count, so I'm just going to put another crematorium in there, and I think we'll do a wee bit of landscaping around that to sort of hide them. No one really likes to see crematoriums in their neighbourhood, do they? It's a bit depressing, so we'll just do a wee bit of landscaping around the school and around the crematorium here and try and sort of hide it. So nothing too major, just a few trees. We've got another elementary school crematorium, and we're going to zone a few houses here, a few residential here, and we'll just put some shops on this little street here. So we also hit 32,000, which was a milestone in the last episode or the episode before, and I forgot to change these out. We're going to be looking at our services as well in this episode, and we unlocked basically the best inland water treatment plant, so we're just going to bonk them down and replace the ones we had. These should be less polluting to the ground, so hopefully over time the pollution on the ground over here clears up a wee bit. We do have other polluting things in this area, but hopefully we might look at that, moving them at some point, and just have this like a proper waterworks. But as you can see, our water was at 150% there, our power's at 150%, and so is our garbage, so I kind of want to look at them and bring them down. So I'll bring the power down as well, and we'll monitor it throughout the episode, but I kind of want to just keep on top of things here, with terms of water, or garbage, or electricity. It's things we're going to have to watch as we go. But obviously, because we lowered it, we need a couple more water towers, so I'm just going to stick them in convenient places, like in the corner of this park here. You know, the trees should block a bit of the noise and hide the tower a wee bit, and it's, you know, it's out the way. You know, it's nowhere near any sort of pollution, and we should be okay. So we need one more, I think, and then we'll obviously, as I said, we'll have to manage the situation as we go. But we've got the new area. We've got this huge section here, so we're just going to bonk a tower in the middle, and obviously we'll bring a pipe. Hopefully, we'll bring it down the side of both of those houses there, so we're not creating too much trouble, potential trouble, you know, down the line. But we should be okay water-wise. But obviously, as I said, we'll just keep an eye on it as we're doing things here. So the first steps I want to look at is policies. We're going to make public transport free. At the moment, we've basically got no transport. We've got one train line in, but that's it. But we're going to make that free so we can, you know, maximise usage and hopefully get people out of their cars. I also want to put on a few that we should have been putting on, like this algae-based water filtering. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but we're going to stick that on as well as recreational use. I mean, I don't mind a slightly higher police budget if it means more people are happy. You know, I don't have a problem with that. We've got our industrial space planning already on, which is good. That should help for industry, even though we don't really have any industry. Encourage biking is you know, again, it's another thing that should encourage people to get out their cars. And Industry 4.0, again, it should help with industry, but we don't actually have any industry at the moment, which is obviously a problem. That's something I don't think we'll address in this episode, but we do have to increase our own local production, because at the moment we're basically importing all our goods, which you know, isn't a good thing. And I also want to put on these sustainable fishing and dolphin safe fishing. Again, I'm not too worried about my fishing industry being overly productive or profitable. I mainly just want a local fish market. If we happen to make a few goods on the side, you know, for the local area, or exporting a handful, I don't mind that. I've got no issue with you know, lowering our yields or profitability of it. I'd really just want, you know, local fish in the area to be sold, you know, sourced locally and sold locally, you know. So I also have a citywide high-rise ban on, and while I like that policy, I've just realised in my two areas here, Kima Heights and the St Bubs district, they're both European districts. So even if you take that off, the buildings will level up all the way to level 5, but they don't go any higher than the standard height, you know, their standard height. So we shouldn't see any skyscrapers. And that should, obviously, the higher the level of a building, the more tax you get from it. So hopefully that will increase the taxes from those buildings. So now to our transport, finally. We need a metro. I think a metro is essential for most cities. And what we're going to do here is we're going to build 2 lines. We're going to build a sort of loop round, you know, the more highly dense area here. We'll call it the St Bubs area. We're going to have a loop round there, and we're going to have a line that sort of connects one side of the river to the other side of the river. I don't usually like to build metros under, you know, large bodies of water, but I think in this city I'm going to make an exception, because I think it's just going to help so much with our transport. So let's start with, we're going to start with this, we've got 2 lines, the new big asset from what we got with the wall to wall, and I think this corner here is perfect for it. It just fits in, the style looks as if it fits in, and obviously it's our main commercial hub, so we kind of need a transport line to it, you know. We've got our train line there, which is good, but it's, you know, the train line isn't the best, it's not the most effective line in terms of, you know, bringing population here. It's okay, but you know, it doesn't reach our more highly populated areas. So that's our first subway line, subway station there, right in the corner of our market. So for our second one, I kind of want one in this office park down in this corner here, and it's it's at the edge of our 2 residential zones as well. So hopefully it will serve all 3. You know, because of its location, because it's got a short walk through the park for some of the residential areas there, and you know, hopefully that will be effective. We'll see, obviously, once we actually run it. And I want to have one at the back of the cathedral here, right in the heart of our sort of highly dense region, and I want to have it in this sort of junction corner here. It's going to be a wee bit annoying if you live locally, you've all of a sudden got a subway station in terms of the noise, but I think in terms of usage, this will get a lot of usage, so we're just going to bonk in that corner there. And we're just going to do a tiny bit of landscaping, nothing major. We're just going to have a path all the way around, and we're just going to stick in, again nothing major. We're just going to have a row of bushes all the way around this path. And in the corner here, we're just going to stick a tree in. And again, that's nothing major, but hopefully that will block a wee bit of the noise. It blocks the back of the buildings as well. And you know, that's a nice wee location for our 3rd metro station. So now we've got our main commercial areas and main residential areas. The next logical place to have one is right next to our university. Not to mention, it's right at the doorstep of another residential area. So we cleared this area earlier on, and I think it's a good place to put another one right in that corner there. And again, as I said, it should serve as a good stop for university. And the reason I went for the bigger one with the 2 stops is this is going to be the station that goes, you know, it's part of our loop, and it's going to go across the river as well. Again, we're just going to do a bit of gentle landscaping before we go further. Just a row of bushes, and we'll stick in a couple of trees. As I said, nothing major on the landscaping. It's already fairly complete, this area, but that's our fourth metro station. So now that our 4 stations in place, we're just going to create like a big loop, big circle basically, joining all the 4 stations, and then we can put our actual lines in and see how effective this loop's actually going to be. And voila! So we've got a big loop, a big circle. So now it's time to put our stations in, not our stations, our lines in, and we're obviously going to have 2 lines, one going clockwise, one going anti-clockwise, and you know, obviously with the 2 lines, hopefully that will mean that we've got a lot more people using it. Clockwise line in, so we'll just put another one in the opposite direction. Okay, so the lines in, we'll have to manage. We'll manage the lines once we start simming, but let's get our other line in. So when we're starting the area, this is where 2 main streets are coming together, and I think that corner where the 2 main streets meet is the perfect place to put another station. So I'm just going to bonk it right in this corner here. Not only is it in the corner of our 2 main streets, but it's right in the doorstep of our tennis club as well, so that should help with that connectivity there. And my last stop, I kind of want to have it fairly close to this train station / business park, for a couple of reasons. It means that it's serving some local, you know, the pedestrian area is right there, so it's not that far a walk. It means you can jump from train to subway as well in this sort of area. And obviously it's serving the business park as well, and we can continue it under the motorway into another area if we want to at some point down the line. So now that our stations are in place, this line's just going to be the 4 stops. We're just going to curve it round. So now is it's not the tricky part, but it's the slightly annoying part, and for this one I want to sort of create a line under the water first. This will help with the lumpy and bumpiness of our line. It gets a bit annoying when you build water pipes or subway lines under the water. It tends to lead to like this big drop between our line and you can kind of see a wee bump there. That's obviously not very good, so we're going to delete our straight line that we just put in, and we're going to replace it so that our subway's not jumping up and down like a roller coaster. We kind of want it to be a smooth sailing ride. You don't want it to be getting pushed all over the place because your metro's that's a much smoother decline under the water. And hopefully when we hook this up here, it should sort of gently increase properly, and it shouldn't create a lot of bump like we did beforehand. So we just quickly check. There you go, it's a nice steep gentle climb, and that's a nice connection there. So last but not least, we're going to connect up our commercial zone with our university here, with a line going through the middle of our cathedral area. I was considering having another stop, in the middle, near our cathedral / business or sort of local council area, but I don't think it was needed. So as I say, I'm just creating a line through the middle of the cathedral. And that means that, the locals on the other side of the city have got a direct line. Ones that are not near the train station, I've got a direct line right to the major commercial hub, and I think that's a good sort of connection to make. So let's create our line. So before we start simming, let's look at taxis as well. We've got one taxi office, and that is down in our sort of business park, office park on this side of the water. I kind of want to increase the number of offices that we have, so I'm going to have, just for now, we're just going to have one more over on this side of the map, just so if someone wants a taxi over this side of the map, the taxi doesn't have to cross the motorway to come into this area. They should be able to get one over here. So I think this corner at the edge of our sort of office park is perfect for it. Yeah, just going to bonk it down in this corner. And I think that's a nice wee place to have it. It's local without being, very noticeable, and in terms of noise, it shouldn't be that noticeable. So I want to have a taxi stand as well. I originally thought about having one next to our tennis club, but I don't think it's warranted at this stage. We might revisit that at some point. I don't know. But the main place I wanted to have one was at the corner of our commercial precinct here, and I should have put it in when I was building it, but I didn't think that far ahead. But we'll stick one in the corner here. I think that's a good place to have one. We'll have to change the road type so that the cars aren't parked against the road. That obviously doesn't make any sense. That would just block the taxis. But we'll deal with that. We'll upgrade this road at some point. So like I said, during the building of the precinct, I didn't want to have any assets here that has parking spots. So I'm just going to place a quick bit of whack-a-mole here with our assets and see if, make sure we get an asset with no parking spots on it. So job done. As I say, we'll upgrade the road at another point, but as you can see, when we zoned out, we're having a lot of problems with our traffic, which means we're struggling to get goods to our service point for this area. So, look at it, it's down to 67% there. Yeah, we need to obviously tackle this now. So another quick thing we can do before we start, making major changes here is look at our road maintenance as well. And as you can see, we've only got one office for the whole city. and it's across this other side of the water, and if you look at the condition of our roads, I mean they're pretty bad. So let's stick down another couple of offices or maintenance buildings. I think I'm just going to stick 2 down here. We've got a little bit of space next to our office park. Stick 2 in there, and it should, I mean it's not going to make a huge difference, but I do think you notice a difference. You know, when you've got enough coverage and your roads are in better conditions, I do think you see enough of a difference that it's worthwhile making sure you've got this, you know, in your city. So while we're down here, I may as well stick in a couple more offices. Again, that's not the main priority of the day, but let's just stick it in while we're here. And we'll just put down a few trees at the back. Have a good mix of trees to stick in the back here, and you're all job done. So I'm just letting it sim for a minute or two, and you can see already that, you know, the condition of the roads are improving rather quickly. So again, it's a small difference, but I do think you notice a wee difference once your coverage and your condition of your roads are up to scratch. So I would recommend it if you don't have it in your city. So as you can see, traffic flows went down as far as 60 now. Our traffic went as low as 60, and as you can see, it's backed up like all the way out the city almost. It's pretty grim. So we need to let's get started here. So we obviously put in more metro. Let's just have a quick look to see if that's having an impact. So our train line, okay, I don't think we need to make any changes there. We've got 4 trains running, and it's obviously they're picking up enough, so that's good enough. Let's check our metro lines. And wow, okay, we need to obviously make changes here. That's obviously far too many. I usually go 1 train or 1 metro per stop, so I'll usually probably increase it to at least 4 here. We might add in, you know, more if we need it, if it's not going to clear, you know, the amount of passengers that we get. Yeah, so I'm increasing it to 4 now. We can always change it again up or down if needed. We're obviously going to have to keep an eye on it at the moment, because there's obviously a lot of utilisation. Well, it looks as if there's going to be a lot of utilisation once we start simming again. So I'm just going to quickly name this the routes as well, so that, you know, I know what I'm looking at. So we're line from, you know, linking up both areas. As you can see, there's a lot of utilisation there as well. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot of potential passengers. So I'm going to increase this to, I'm going to increase it to 8, because we usually go for 6. Well, I usually go for 1 per stop, as I've said before. But I'm going to increase it to 8, and then again we'll need to keep an eye on it through the episode, and obviously adjust either way depending on what's going on. Yeah, I don't know if it's just because this is a longer line, but as you can see, the passenger numbers are not really dropping all that much. So I think I'm going to increase it to 10 for now, and then we'll look at it. So yeah, we definitely need another one over here for this line. Again, we're just going to have to keep on double checking. 4 is probably actually alright for that one. I was going to add a 5th one, but I think I'll leave it. And this one, I think 10's just about good enough. Again, we'll check it later. So as you can see, as we zoom out, we're really struggling here to get goods into the area, and it's obviously having an impact on our shopping centre here. I mean, 64. Yeah, I mean, we've done as much as we can without, you know, building more infrastructure here. So we need to get more connectivity. So I'm going to add another junction here. Again, we're just going to put in the bog standard one for now. And I know it's incredibly, I think this is such an incredibly ugly junction, but we can always beautify it after, you know, we make changes. So I'm just going to stick it in And I'm just going to bring this road in quite a wee bit this time, so we've got a bit of a longer run into the city here. And see if, see if that makes any difference. And we're just going to have a three lane road coming all the way in. Again, we can tidy this up at a later date. For right now, I just kind of want to get this traffic back under control, and then we can concentrate on beautifying it another time, So I'm just going to take that junction off there, or the traffic lights off there. So we've made one more connection. I mean, again, we'll see how much difference all this makes. We'll just have to obviously keep an eye on it. And I'm going to make another one over the other side. I said right at the very start, I even brought a road halfway around this corner in preparation for another junction. I've just never got around to actually making, the other junction. So it's long overdue, this. And again, we're just going to stick in this ugly junction here. Connection made. There's a bit of a ditch there. I should have probably checked the land before I did anything there, but let's just fix that before we move on. There's a bit of a ditch there. I don't know if that used to be a stream or something. And just upgrading all those roads to a 3-lane road, and yeah, we'll see how that pans out. So as we're just simming here, I'm just going to delete these historic buildings and try and get them replaced while we're simming here. That is the problem when you've got historic buildings in your city, is if they go abandoned, you kind of you need to spend time and, play whack-a-mole whenever you have the issue, So I just want to quickly fix these buildings, and then we can check on the status of our traffic. Oh, that was surprisingly quick, so that's it fixed. So I've been, as I say, I was simming a wee bit there, and it looks as if it's starting to clear up, and we're getting a wee bit of usage out of this, the new connection we made. But as you can see, it's still backed up quite a bit on this other side here. This road is always going to be a bit of a nightmare, I think. I think just given the layout of this area, that road's always going to be a slightly bit of a nightmare. But look at that, we've jumped back up anyway to 78%. Let's have a quick check on our lines and see if we need any. No, that looks fine with 10. I think we'll stay with 10 now. And 4, we could probably maybe make that 3, and they're fine as well. So we're getting a lot of utilisation out of our subway, and it's I think it is having an impact on our overall traffic. So the last thing I want to do today to try and help our traffic is get a cargo train station in the back here next to our our commercial zone, and we're going to have to do a wee bit of terraforming here, because I want to bring the train under the highway. I don't really like roads or trains going over our roads or anything. I tend to prefer my rail to be to go under rather than over, generally speaking. So that's what we've done. We've just levelled a wee area here where we can put our train line in, and we're going to have to try and we're just going to make a tunnel here, and we're going to try and obviously make, I mean, it doesn't make any impact in the game in terms of you can have the trains going through at any old height and any old angle, and it will still usually go, but I kind of want to make the train line as flat as possible and make it a wee bit more realistic. As I said earlier on with the metro, I don't really like my tracks to be up and down and bumpy and lumpy and all over the place. I kind of want to have it as flat as possible. So I'm just going to bring the tunnel under the motorway. And again, on the other side, we're going to have to do a wee bit of terraforming to get our line in here. So again, just flatten out a wee area. And we're going to try and bring this through in a sort of, as I say, as flat as possible rail line as possible. How does that look? you know, it's not perfect, but I can kind of live with it. I can come back to it. I don't want to get too bogged down in semantics right now. Let's just get this cargo line in and see if we can make any difference. So again, we're going to have to do some more terraforming here so that the track looks a bit more realistic. We're going to have to do a wee bit of smoothing of the land here. So picking a spot, and then we're going to try and curve this round here. And hopefully this is not too steep a hill. I mean, it looks a wee bit steep if I'm being honest, but to be honest, that doesn't look that bad. Again, we can tidy things up a bit better, you know, down the line. But for now, like, that doesn't. I can live with that. It's not too awful looking. I can live with that. So I'm just going to quickly do a wee bit of gradation before we finish this rail line here, so it's not too, you know, hideous. Right, that's enough. I mean, it's not perfect. We can, again, I just want to kind of get on with this cargo thing. I just want to go on with this cargo train line here, so that's enough gradation. So again, I'm going to have this line fairly straight, and we're going to try and get it over this river here. So the best way to get rail lines or roads or anything over a river is you want to kind of flatten out the area at the edge of, you know, the river. We're going to bring our train line right up to the edge. So we're going to have to bring up the other side as well, so that this bridge comes across on a sort of flat, even way, and it's not going to be lumpy and bumpy and all over the place. So we're just bringing up a wee ledge over the other side for our rail line to go on, and bang. So that looks pretty good. I mean, obviously the sort of bump it's on doesn't look the best, but we can smooth out the land, no bother. It's just the rail line is straight, and you know, it's not hilly and bumpy, so I can live with that. So let's just do a wee bit of smoothing here before we finish off our line. So, a bit of smoothing done, let's finish off our line. So we've got two rail lines into the city. It's kind of hard to tell because there's a bit of fog at the moment. Yeah, we've only got two lines into the city, and they're both joined in the middle by a big sweeping curve. So we're just going to make two lines here. Yeah, I'm just going to bring this one down, hopefully at as straight an angle as possible. Join that one up, and then we're just going to make one from over here. Connect this as well to the other line coming into the city. So it's not perfect, but for what we're needing today, that will do. We can obviously tidy this area up and you know, later on. But at least we've got a line that's connected to both our outside connections, and now it's time to get our cargo train station in. So this area is going to be far from beautiful for the time being. I'm just going to make a lot of temporary roads. I'm going to make a lot of temporary roads and, you know, connections, just so we can get this thing functioning. So we have our little service road. I'm just going to do a wee bit more smoothing here so we can make our connection. I mean, I don't mind doing a bit of terraforming, to be honest, especially when it comes to things like train terminals and getting train lines in. I think it's just easier to get your rail network down when you're making, you know, terraforms here and there. As I say, I prefer my trains to go under roads than over roads, you know. I mean, there is exceptions to any rule, but I generally prefer to go under. So we've made our connection. I've just done my water. There's the electricity line, so this should work, you know. In terms of functionality anyway, this terminal will work. So let's just tidy this area up a wee bit here. So we're simulating, obviously, just to see if this makes any impact. Obviously, it's ugly. Okay, it's ugly, and I just want to focus. The main focus of this episode is to get our traffic under control, and we can, you know, we can actually make it better next time. So we just hit 80% there. So we just hit 80% traffic there. So I want to I want to make a better home for our service areas. Again, I don't think this is the final location of them, but in terms of just getting our traffic under control, I'm just going to put them there for now. And we're going to sim here to try and get and I don't know if we're having a death wave or it's because our traffic is bad, but we need I'm just plonked down a crematorium there. As you can see, our traffic's dipped below 80 again. I mean, this road is an absolute nightmare. It's always going to be a nightmare. I want it to be a nightmare that's, you know, you can live with, you know, but that's just unacceptable. That's just one single road. Yeah, let's make a change here. So again, this is going to look absolutely horrible for the time being, but we're going to just make a more direct route, and we're going to delete this road here because it's just we can't have a single row of traffic all the way down our highway. That's just not acceptable, and that's already looking a bit better in terms of traffic anyway, isn't it? So let's see how our cargo hub's doing. So our trains are in. We could probably do with bringing like a loop round for our cargo. So yeah, let's do that now. Let's make a wee loop for it because it will just help our traffic, I think, if it's looped round rather than, you know, turning around at a 90-degree turn, you know. Okay, so that should help with the movement of our traffic for now. Let's see how that is. Again, it's not pretty. We need to do a lot of work in terms of tidying up, but our traffic's up to 83%. As I said, that main junction into the city is always going to be a bit of a mess, but 84 now. You know, we're getting to that stage where I can live with that. I can live with 83, 84%. It's just that road's chaos, isn't it? I'm going to leave it here. I know this might be a wee bit of a shorter episode, and you know, it is still a mess in terms of our cargo train station there, but we've got our traffic under control. And although it's not perfect and we've still got a lot of changes to make, I do think, you know, it was down at 60% at one point. It was down at 60% at one point, now we're sort of peaking at 85, it was as high as 87 as well at the end there. So I'm going to leave it here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it's a bit of a mishmash of stuff, and we've covered most of the things that I think will help, you know, your traffic if you're struggling with your traffic. We were obviously struggling with ours, and we've managed to increase it from 60 to, you know, the mid 80s without, you know, doing drastic wholesale changes to, you know, your city. We've just added in a few connections, got a cargo hub going. We still don't have any zoned industry, which obviously will help if you're producing your own goods and you've got a transport network to set up to deliver those goods. It helps, but at the moment we're just importing everything. We basically had 2 big cul-de-sacs, so I think we've done quite well. We've made quite a few changes that will help us in the long run. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, obviously like and subscribe, and if you want to follow where the city goes from here. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.